found the heart of an ancient African kingdom, nestled between rolling green hills and serene rivers, ruled the beloved king and queen, King Adisa and Queen Nia. They epitomized love and harmony, admired by their people, and together they had a beautiful family of 3 royal children. Their reign was marked by peace, prosperity, and the promise of a bright future. Yet beneath the surface of this idyllic kingdom, darkness brewed. A darkness born from jealousy and deceit, threatening to unravel the very fabric of their love and loyalty. One fateful night, Queen Nia was visited by a mysterious figure who offered her a gift, an ancient book bound in leather and adorned with a ruby rose. Little did she know, this was no ordinary gift. The figure was someone close to her heart, harboring a secret so dark that its revelation would shake the very foundations of the kingdom. "Good evening, Your Majesty," the figure said, its voice low and sultry as it stepped into the dimly lit chambers. "I trust the night finds you well." Queen Nia turned to face the intruder, her expression puzzled but polite. "Who are you, and how did you get past the guards?" "Forgive my intrusion," the figure responded, its face still hidden by the shadows of the hood. "I come bearing a gift, an ancient tome of great power, one that holds the secrets of the universe. It is a gift worthy only of a queen such as yourself." The figure extended a hand, revealing the ornate, leather-bound book. Its cover was adorned with a ruby rose, intricately trimmed in gold. The book seemed to pulse with a faint, golden glow. "A book of secrets, you say?" Queen Nia's curiosity was piqued, though a hint of wariness crept into her voice. "What manner of secrets could this hold that would be of value to me?" "Secrets of love, of power, of eternal beauty," the figure replied, its voice dripping with full sincerity. "This book was crafted by the ancients, a gift from the gods themselves. To possess it is to possess the knowledge of the divine." Queen Nia hesitated, her hand hovering over the book. There was an unspoken tension in the air, as if she could sense the malevolence behind the offer. But her curiosity got the better of her, and she accepted the book. The moment her fingers touched the leather, the room grew cold. A gust of wind whipped through the chamber, extinguishing the candles. The ruby rose on the cover began to glow brighter, casting a crimson light on the queen's face. She gasped as she felt herself being pulled into the book, her body dissolving into shimmering particles of light. "No! What is happening to me?" she cried out, panic rising in her voice. The figure responded with a sinister whisper. "Ah, Your Majesty, you are always too trusting, too willing to believe the best in others, but it is your trusting nature that will be your undoing." And with those words, Queen Nia was completely absorbed into the book. The room fell silent, the only evidence of her existence being the glowing book left behind on the bed. The imposter wasn't far from the truth. Queen Nia was known for her loving nature, but she was also naive, blindly trusting the words of those around her, including her husband, King Adisa. King Adisa adored his wife and often claimed he would stand in front of cannons for her. Yet, his love did not keep him from having an affair right under her nose with the new baroness in the Queen's court. It was an open secret among the royal court, but no one knew if Her Majesty was aware of the scandal. She never questioned anyone. The most heartbreaking part of the situation was that their eldest daughter, Princess Amara, was aware. She hated her father for it, but kept silent for her mother's sake. On several occasions, the young princess unintentionally caught her father relieving his royal urges with the baroness. Though he never saw her, she began to avoid him whenever she could. The baroness would make a quick getaway once it was over, which brought some relief to Amara. She harbored a few choice words for that woman, words unbecoming of a princess with royal blood. The princess had been looking for her mother for hours. She had heard some noise the previous night from her mother's chambers, but did not want to intrude. She feared her mother might have encountered her father and his lover, so she decided to check on her at sunrise. A strange tension hung in the air, and she sensed that something was terribly wrong. Meanwhile, in his study, King Adisa was reviewing kingdom reports with his council when Princess Amara entered, her face pale with worry. "Father, have you seen Mother?" she asked, her voice trembling. King Adisa looked up, sensing the fear in his daughter's voice. "Not yet. We're supposed to meet for lunch later. Why do you ask?" What's the matter? I think she's missing, father. Amara began to cry. The king was shocked. What are you saying? That's impossible. He quickly summoned the guards and began questioning them. No one sleeps in this kingdom until my wife is found, the king commanded, panic evident in his voice. Everything in the castle came to a standstill as everyone searched each tower, pond and corner they could think of. News of the queen's disappearance spread like wildfire. The children were confused. The servants were in disbelief. Queen Mother Odessa arrived in tears. Adisa, where is she? Do you realize how serious this is? Queen Mother Odessa, Nia's mother, demanded as she stormed into the castle. She and Nia were close, but Odessa was closer to her eldest son, Olumide. Nia's father had disinherited Olumide from the throne because of his past treachery against the kingdom, leading to his dismissal from the royal court. As Olumide's mother, Odessa was blindly empathetic towards his situation. She also despised Adisa, not only for his lack of royal blood, but also for his careless infidelities. How long has she been gone? She yelled at Adisa. We believe since early this morning, he replied, his voice trembling. Odessa dragged Adisa aside privately and reminded him of the kingdom's law regarding royal abandonment. If a queen or king consort did not remarry within 30 days after the death or abandonment of a monarch, they would forfeit the throne, and the duties would automatically pass to the next eldest heir, in this case, Olumide. I am aware, Odessa, your daughter is missing, yet you still remain cruel to the bone, Adisa snapped at her. Ha, Odessa laughed bitterly. And here your wife disappears from under your nose while you ensure your appendage is well cared for more than she ever was. I don't know what sick game you're playing, but you better find my daughter quickly. If you think you're going to make that Baroness Queen consort, you will disappear next. That is a promise, she whispered harshly, her eyes piercing into his. As Odessa left the castle, King Adisa felt a burden settling heavily upon his shoulders. A darkness loomed over him, enveloping him like a cloak soaked in freezing cold water. Regret for his thoughtless decisions played over and over in his mind like a broken record. He walked slowly to the royal gardens and sat down on a beautiful French-style bench, tears welling in his eyes. It was their favorite bench, his and Nia's. They had shared so many wonderful memories together in the gardens. Nia loved to sit on the pristine grasses and gaze at the luscious white roses. Adisa missed her terribly. He entered her bedroom chambers and looked around. Everything was neatly organized, all things in their place, except for an odd-looking book on her bed. It had a strange, soft golden glow that slowly pulsed. It was warm to the touch. The ruby rose that adorned the top of the book was such a deep red, it looked like blood. Meanwhile, on her own search, Princess Amara walked past the bustling kitchen, where cooks barked orders at servers who were setting the royal table for lunch. As Amara passed by, she heard a cook ask for the king's favorite dish, jollof rice. Just as the meal was placed by a servant, Amara noticed a familiar figure approaching the table. It was that trashy baroness. As the princess watched from a distance, she saw the baroness take a small vial from her pocket, open it, and pour a clear substance into her father's lunch, smiling as she stirred. But then, the baroness was startled by the kitchen noises, and in that moment Amara's mouth dropped in shock as she witnessed the baroness shapeshift into her estranged uncle Olumide. She quickly ran to find her father, her heart pounding with fear. She had seen too much. As she rushed down the corridor, she collided with her two brothers, Prince Asir and Prince Kofi. We must find father, she explained breathlessly. They found their father in their mother's chambers. Father, I just saw something, you bad, weird. Uncle Olumide, he's the baroness. He's your whore. He's a warlock. You've been having an affair with Uncle Olumide? Princess Amara's eyes were wide with fear and confusion. Then just plain disgust came across her face. The prince's mouths hung so low to the ground, the servants could use them for dirty dish rags. If that's not rock bottom, what the hell is? Prince Kofi whispered to his brother Asir, both laughing quietly. I saw Olumide change with my own eyes, she insisted. And I saw him pour something into your lunch. I think he's trying to kill you. Amara then noticed the book in her father's hands. She cautiously took it from him. "Open it," he said, in a low, shameful whisper. As she opened the book, it grew brighter, its light overtaking the room. "I smell mother's perfume," Prince Asir shouted with excitement. "Wait, does that mean—" Before he could finish, Adisa interrupted him. "If you've seen what you've seen and your uncle is a warlock, then I believe he put your mother inside this book," the king said, paralyzed by shock. They all stood in disbelief. Realizing the gravity of the situation, King Adisa stood abruptly, knocking over a chair in the process. "Nia, oh, what have I done? What have I allowed to happen?" he whispered to himself, horrified. He quickly gathered his sword and turned to his daughter with a look of determination. "We must free her. He has to possess a countercurse of some kind. It's the only way to save your mother and uncover the full extent of Olumide's treachery. We must act quickly." Princess Amara's voice steadied with resolve. "We won't let him get away with this." Together, they all left the Queen's chambers, their mission clear. They searched through the ancient books and scrolls in the royal library, hoping to find a cure or spellbook to use. Their search went on for days. The princes spied on their uncle while Adisa and Amara searched the royal library top to bottom. 20 days had passed since the Queen disappeared with no luck for Adisa and Amara. The two princes, following their uncle around the countryside, were their only hope. It was clear to Adisa that his brother-in-law had staged this diabolical situation, trapping Nia so he could kill Adisa, leaving Olumide to ascend to the throne. Asir and Kofi, the two princes, followed their uncle to a modest home he stayed in just outside the kingdom. They watched him through a small window towards the back of the house. Most days he was there, but this day Olumide was preparing to take up residence near the castle as the Baroness. The princes looked on as Olumide took out a large black book from a locked drawer. "It's the book," they whispered to each other. What the princes didn't realize was this book wasn't just a spell book. It belonged to the darkest, most sinister voodoo priestess in the kingdom, Madame Nyoka. Some called her Mama Nyoka. Any magic that she conjured was effective, but the price paid by the one asking her for a favor was very heavy. She didn't tolerate nonsense, and by stealing that book, Olumide would be feeling the effects from an unspoken wrath of Madame Nyoka's welding. Olumide quickly transformed himself into the Baroness, closed the book and locked it back in the drawer. When the coast was clear and Olumide had left the home, Isaiah snuck in through the window, located the key, opened the drawer and found the book. Isaiah grabbed it quickly and left with Kofi back to the castle. "Father, look, this is it, the spell book Olumide used." Prince Kofi held up the thick ancient book bound in dark leather. The cover was adorned with arcane symbols, and the edges of the pages were tinged with a faint reddish glow. The evil emanating from the book was palpable to all in the room. King Adisa took the book from his son, his hands trembling. "This is our only hope. We must find the counter-curse before it's too late." Princess Amara pointed to a passage in the book. "Father, here, this looks like it could be it." King Adisa read the passage aloud, his voice steady despite the rising tension. "By the power of the ancients, by the light of truth, I call upon the forces of good to break this curse, to free the innocent, and to cast down the wicked." As the final words left his lips, a bright light filled the room, the ground trembled, and the book with the ruby rose in King Adisa's hands began to glow with an intense golden light. The book flew open, and from its pages a whirlwind of energy erupted, engulfing the room. "Adisa, you found me," echoed Queen Nia's voice, full of hope and relief. The light intensified, and suddenly Queen Nia materialized in the center of the room, whole and unscathed. The golden energy dissipated, leaving her standing before her family, tears of joy streaming down her face. "My loves, I'm back, I'm truly back," Queen Nia said, running to embrace her husband and children. King Adisa held her tightly, his voice choked with emotion. "Nia, I'm so sorry. I was deceived, blinded by my own foolishness." Queen Nia pulled back to look into his eyes, her voice gentle but firm. "Adisa, we will face this together, but first, we must deal with my brother's treachery. He did this to me." In the grand throne room, the Baroness stood before the throne dressed in royal robes. She was confident, believing her plan had succeeded. But her arrogance was shattered when the doors burst open, and King Adisa, Queen Nia and their children marched in, the black spellbook clutched in the king's hand. What is this? You broke the curse? How the Baroness stammered, her voice faltering. Did you truly believe that your deception would go unnoticed, Olumide? We know it's you. King Adisa's voice was cold and commanding. You sought to destroy our family, to take your sister's throne, but you underestimated the strength of our bond. Queen Nia stepped forward, her voice filled with righteous fury. Brother, you betrayed your own blood for power. You have dishonored our family, and you will answer for your crimes. Desperate, the Baroness's hands crackled with dark energy. You think you can stop me? I have the power of the ancients, and I will not be denied. But before she could unleash her dark magic, King Adisa threw the black spellbook to the ground, its pages falling open to a counter-curse for power revocation. The book glowed with crimson light, and a powerful force surged from it, engulfing the room. The Baroness was stripped of her powers, her true identity as Olumide revealed to all. Then the whole book disappeared along with Olumide. Unbeknownst to everyone, the counter-curse that Adisa performed was a spell of Madame Nyoka's own creation, for it was designed to send the receiver of the spell back to her for final judgment. When Olumide realized the spell brought him back to her hut, he tried to get away, but that was to no avail. The hut was surrounded with evil cannibal villagers that served Madame Nyoka. An enormous billow of foul-smelling smoke showed up, revealing the priestess with a sinister, evil smile. She let out a horrific, diabolical laugh. Olumide screamed as Nyoka threw red magic dust on him, turning him into a large turkey. She grabbed him, then threw him out her door to the cannibal villagers. They desecrated him to nothing but a bloody carcass. He was never heard from again. With Olumide's defeat, peace was restored to the kingdom. Queen Mother Odessa was happy to have her daughter back, but disheartened by Olumide's betrayal. King Adisa and Queen Nia, their love stronger than ever, ruled together once more, their bond unbreakable. The royal children, having played a crucial role in their mother's rescue, were hailed as heroes. Peace returned to the land and the kingdom flourished under the wise and just rule of the reunited royal family. And so, the tale of the Queen's curse became a legend, passed down through generations, a reminder of loyalty, the enduring strength of family, how the power of love can bears all things, believes all things, hopes in all things, endures in all things, and covers a multitude of sins.